Alright, ladies and gentlemen, if you're on this channel, you're probably a watch hobbyist, and you're probably only happy when you're hyper-focused. You have one of those brains, you have to be hyper-focused. So, speaking of hyper-focus, my fellow hyper-focused watch hobbyist, Bruce Williams, invited me to speak with him about watches next week on his YouTube channel. And I believe many of you know who Bruce Williams is, successful watch YouTuber. And I was reading the talking points for our discussion, and it occurred to me that Bruce has a very clear grasp of my watch struggle, and that engaging with someone as smart as Bruce helps me see myself in ways that I should be able to see on my own. You know, a lot of times things that are obvious about us, we just don't see unless we engage with other people. There's a vibrancy that only can occur when we engage with other people. When we're alone, when we're isolated, no matter how smart we are, that lack of vibrancy makes us deficient in our analysis. So I look forward to the discussion I'll be having with Bruce, and I assume he'll be posting it on his YouTube channel in the next week or so. So we're going to talk about not my watch hobby, my watch struggle. I cannot call what I do a watch hobby. It's a struggle because there is a huge degree of torment in what I do. Everything I do is high strung. There's nothing casual about anything I do. When I wake up and make coffee in the morning, it's not casual. When I do my kettlebell workouts, it's not casual. When I practice the piano, it's not casual. Even the way I organize my TV viewing is not casual. Nothing is casual. Not my watch torment, my watch struggle. It's really not a hobby. I didn't choose it. It chose me. Frankly, I wouldn't mind walking away from it, but my theory is that I have to be hyper-focused on something. I just wish I could be more hyper-focused on my piano more often, or reading and so on. Because, I mean, a watch is somewhat limited. There's a, you know, how far are you going to go with watches? Well, I can tell you I've gone pretty far. So, I was looking over at Bruce's talking points as I prepare for this conversation, and I realized he's a very, very smart person who could have been a top business executive had he wanted. I believe he's self-employed. I could be wrong. And I believe that, like me, Bruce got his brain hijacked with watches a long time ago. He got hijacked. And I also suspect that, like me, Bruce is ambivalent about having his brain hijacked by luxury wrist art. It also occurred to me that as we get together in the watch community, which is what we do, yeah, we have social media here. Here I am making a YouTube video. And I believe that our commiseration with each other is for our mutual benefit and our mutual peril. So what's the benefit of us getting together and talking about our watch struggle? Seiko SLA055, just in case. I have to show it because I'm going to talk about it in a second. So what's the benefit? Well, one of the benefits is, as I said earlier, when you engage with other people, you can see what you're doing, what you're like, more clearly. For example, as Bruce analyzed my novel, The Secret Life of Watch Addicts, which is about a tour bus loaded with watch addicts going to watch meetup at the Sheraton in Kauai. It's like a bunch of tag team Wizard of Oz characters, misfit toys, if you will. And it occurred to me that I am a stereotype. I'm the archetype. A stereotype, an archetype of what? I'm like those people who go to Comic-Con and Trekkie conventions. And like those nerds, I'm hyper-focused, and I can only become an extrovert when I'm engaging with people who have common interests. This should have been obvious, but I didn't see it until Bruce sent me the email about my novel and about the talk we're going to have. What are the liabilities of us commiserating with one another? Well, we feed each other's addiction. We enable each other. We're a bunch of drunks meeting at the liquor store at 7 a.m. Not good. All right, final thing I want to say today. Sunday morning, And this morning I finished a lesson plan for college and graded a few papers. And then, as I tend to do, I started innocently looking at watches on the internet, including a very limited edition watch called the Seiko SLA039. Believe it or not, it's bigger than this 055 here. It's almost 45. This is almost 43. And I was looking at the 039 saying, oh, what a holy grail that would be. And then it occurred to me that the 055 that I'm showing you here, it kind of blows out the 039. In terms of the color, the dynamic, beautiful dial, it's more appealing. It's a little smaller, and it's very similar to, in many ways, the lugs and the case design have a lot of similarities. I believe it has the same movement. And it occurred to me that I don't need to look at other watches to get a sense of completeness. I mean, this 055 gives me a sense of completeness more than anything when it comes to watches. And I started thinking about this idea of completeness and the way we watch addicts get really anxious when we see a watch that we love that's so beautiful with our eyes. We see this sense of incompleteness in us, and if I had that, I would feel complete. I know it's ridiculous. First of all, it is ridiculous to talk about completeness with a capital C if it comes to acquiring any materialistic possession. You're not going to be complete having an 055. You're going to feel that way, and that's why you invest all this emotion in holy grails. But clearly, true completeness is about moral integrity, our duty to family and society, and exercising our creativity. You know, getting stuff isn't going to make it complete. But I have to be honest with you. As men, and most people here are men, we can't talk about completeness without talking about the evolution of our reptile brain, dating way back to the caveman age. We are visual creatures. Back in the caveman age, we zeroed in with laser focus in animals to hunt. We hunted animals not just to eat for our survival, but for reproductive success. We wanted to show off to potential mates. When we see something to this day that will improve our eating and reproductive success, we become fully alive, we become anxious, we become overcome by FOMO, the fear of missing out, and we must kill the mastodon, not only to eat, but to drag back to the cave to impress the lady, the beauty. And so we have a visually fueled FOMO gene in us. And I believe looking at watches on the internet triggers that visually fueled FOMO gene. You look at something like the 055 here, and you say, I have to have this, or I won't be complete. Now, I noticed this in myself when I was 8 years old, in the 3rd grade. I would watch my favorite shows, I Dream of Jeannie and Gilligan's Island. And when I saw the very beautiful Barbara Eden as Jeannie, Dawn Wells as Mary Ann, Tina Louise as Ginger, who dated my cousin, another story. When I saw these beautiful women on TV, I would lose my mind. I would feel anxious. I would feel like I have to have beauty like this in my life or I won't feel complete. I wanted to live in Barbara Eden's magic bottle with her in silken paradise forever in order to feel complete. Now, fast forward many decades later, when I see watches on someone's YouTube channel or on Instagram, I get that same anxiety. I can't feel complete unless I get watch X. And I call this the Barbara Edenification of my watch collection. Can you say that again, McMahon? I'll try. The Barbara Edenification of my watch collection. Can you say Edenification, please? No, I don't want to say it anymore. I said it enough. Okay. So, what's the moral of this story? I'm trying to put the brakes on my watch collecting right now because there's a voice in me that's saying, dude, You have your Barbara Eden watch right here. Stop looking at SLA039s and other watches. You have your Barbara Eden watch. And just stop. Enjoy the completeness. Stop spinning your wheels. All right? Ladies and gentlemen, what do you think, man? What's your Barbara Eden watch? Until next time, I'm out.